freemmmostation.com.
So action combat is kind of the thing. You know, it's that one feature that's like all the players, everyone, all of us, everyone is looking for in an MMO right now. And it's one that's still really tricky to find. A few games have managed to stand out though, and while some of them, like Dragon's Prophet and DC Universe Online, are probably more considered pseudo-action combat, it's still at least a first step in the right direction. So let's see what are the 10 best, absolute best action MMORPG games right now, including some that are taking their sweet time to reach the West, admittedly, and one we've already played but it's still in development.
Number 10.
Raider Z was advertised as a monster hunting MMO, and while it certainly has what it takes, action combat, big monsters, it kind of feels a few other departments. The non-target combat system, really far from perfect, but it is good enough. It requires you to chain moves, dodge enemy attacks, business as usual. But Raider Z suffers from dated visuals and plenty of generic kill X creature quests. The European and Korean versions shut down last year, which places a big question mark on the still alive and kicking North American servers.
Number 9.
Dragon's Prophet isn't exactly all that it was shaping up to be, but it still has a lot going for it. Combat is fast-paced, action-based, but not quite the completely free combat system we were hoping to see more often. It's not like you need much skill to attack your enemies. You just point your weapon in the right direction and then spam the attack buttons and abilities like there's no tomorrow. Combat in Dragon's Prophet is just like the rest of the game. Unpolished and overly familiar, but one that can be fun if you manage to look beyond these flaws.
Number 8.
Sony Online made all superhero fans proud with DC Universe Online, the MMORPG with your favorites Batman, Superman, and so many other heroes and villains. While not revolutionary, it's still using the tried and tested hotbar formula. It adds real-time movement, combos, and plenty of spectacular weaponry to the mix, making for a truly exciting combat experience. And this is by far the best superhero MMO available right now.
Number 7.
We weren't sure if we should include this one, but then again, since we are talking about action combat, why not? Sega is tight-lipped about the Western version of this game, which, according to the latest rumors, may already be shelved. But there's still an original version to try if you're curious about it and know how to play in English. Anyways, Phantasy Star Online 2 offers extremely fast-paced, responsive, and fun action combat with all kinds of weapons. For instance, a katana or a bow, and the different classes and weapons provide enough variation to combat, and we wouldn't mind seeing this template in more MMOs. And while we're at it, we wouldn't mind seeing Phantasy Star Online 2 in North America and Europe. But sadly, we're kind of losing hope.
Number 6.
Continent of the Ninth is a great-looking action combat game, and it uses a familiar control system to perform some impressive and fluid combos. WASD to move and mouse buttons to perform the attacks. It's all extremely fast-paced and acrobatic, with some super cool slow motions to show you just how badass you are at this. And fun fact, the producer of C9 is now working on the highly anticipated Black Desert, so keep that in mind.
Number 5.
The stunning Vindictus is powered by the Source engine, and this means that it allows for quite a bit of interaction with the environment. You're capable of picking up objects and use them as weapons, either wildly swinging them or just throwing them at enemies. You can also grab some foes, give them a taste of their own medicine. An action-packed game with some cool bosses and pretty playable characters.
Number 4.
Yeah, Dragon Nest. Some love it, a few hate it, but it's definitely one of the precursors of action combat in free-to-play MMORPGs. It is definitely fun, and is definitely flashy, and also has some epic extended combos and impressive bosses. This is true non-target action combat with different gender-locked classes that offer completely distinct approaches to fighting. It's also extremely rewarding and one of the fastest combat systems out there. So you have to be frequently on your toes to keep up with everything, using the skills at the right time and jumping around to avoid enemy attacks. It's just a little bit awesome.
Number 3.
Blade & Soul is one of the fanciest action combat MMORPGs and features some truly just crazy moves to go along with the original art style and martial arts movie inspiration. Some combos look like they just came out of a fighting game, like Street Fighter. You'll be smacking people in the air, grabbing and punching them in the face before throwing them afar, and really so much more. Timing and countering is a key to succeed in this game. If, like us, you are tired of NCSoft's deafening silence on the Western version of Blade & Soul, You can always play the Korean or Chinese version if you really want to. The Chinese version is even free to play.
Number 2.
Kingdom Under Fire 2 is still undergoing development for the time being, but we were lucky enough to be a part of the first very restricted experience beta test. And let me tell you, what an experience it was. So while we were expecting a fairly decent game based on the popular but flawed series, this first MMORPG just blew our mind. Combat is incredibly smooth, incredibly fast-paced, and skill-based, even if chaotic at times. I mean, after all, you are attacking hundreds of enemies while commanding your troops, but this is as exciting of an action combat game as it gets. We can hardly wait for the next beta to give it another shot. Kingdom Under Fire 2 is going to be one of the best action combat MMOs, period.
And number 1.
Intera is still the poster boy for action combat-based games. This is true action combat, and while it may not have been the first MMO to do so, it certainly is the hottest one right now. In this game, players have to dodge, block, aim, and attack with precision, and there's no lock-on to take you by the hand. It's completely skill-based, and timing plays a vital part in the success of your actions. The fact that Terra is one of the most beautiful MMOs out there pretty much seals the deal. So guys, this is our current choice of the free action MMORPGs, and there are a few more coming, such as Black Desert, EverQuest Next, Dragon Nest 2, Project Black Sheep, and many more. We left a few games out on purpose, for instance, Elsword Online, which uses a 2D point of view, and others because, you know, reasons. Anyways, as usual, let us hear from you in the comments below.
Still not sick and tired of all the MOBAs yet? Good for you, because the developers of Heroes of Newerth has just announced another one, Strike. This is another free-to-play MOBA, and the studio expects the two games to compete between